to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the CEO and founder of 1106 Design, traditional published quality for independent authors. No other than Miss Michelle DeFilippo.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Welcome, Miss Michelle. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure, my name is, as you said, Michele DeFilippo. I'm the owner of 1106 Design, and we have been in business since 2001, helping authors publish a top quality book without a publisher, keep control of it, and earn more money every time they sell a copy.
Yes, we love that, Miss Michelle. Earn millions of money. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about the essential services authors need. Tell us, why is it critical for authors to shift from seeing themselves as a solitary artist to viewing themselves as a CEO of their own creative business?
Well, I guess the best way to explain it is to start with the fact that if you are getting into a brand new industry like book publishing, it always helps to learn the industry from experts who already know it. And there's a lot of misinformation about self-publishing on the internet right now. It looks very credible and very appealing. You'll run into a lot of people who tell you you should design and format your own book, and you can certainly do that, but that's not the way a publisher would approach the publication of your book. Publishers have always hired experts in every area of the publication process, from editing to design to typesetting to ebook formatting, and they do that for a reason, because everybody's a specialist in their own field. You're good as a writer. Editors are good at polishing your writing to the best that it can be. And book designers specialize in presenting your book to the public in such a way that it's appealing. They will feel that it's credible. The text will be easy to read and give them an overall good experience, not just because, but so that they write a good review and you sell more books and they buy your next book. So it all works together for publishing success.
Miss Michelle, what is the most common and damaging gap you see between the author's creative talent and their ability to successfully get their book into the world?
Well, like I said, it's just misinformation at this point. Now, there are three publishing models today that authors can consider. The first model is traditional publishing. Everyone's familiar with that. In traditional publishing, the publisher pays all of the expenses to produce the book. And then when a book sells, they keep most of the money from sales and they pay the author a small royalty. That's a pretty good deal if you can get it. It's very difficult to make an arrangement with a traditional publisher. They're very selective about who they want to work with. They generally want to work with authors who already have a large platform to promote the book. So that option is there, but it's, for all intents and purposes, not available to most independent publishers. The original model of self publishing, which is the model that we work under, the author is the publisher of the book. The author buys the professional services to produce a great book. That's what we offer. And then the author keeps all of the net revenue from sales when a book is sold. So they get a return on their investment for the money they've spent. Now, the third model is between these two options, and this is where the problem starts. We now have self publishing companies, hybrid publishers, quote unquote independent publishers. And unlike traditional publishers, what they do is they charge the author to produce the book. They offer the services to the publisher and charge the author for those services. And then they also take money out of the author's pocket when a book is sold. So the question I would hope more people would ask is, if this entity, this publisher, has no investment whatsoever in your book, what entitles them to any portion of your profits? And so that's where the biggest area of misunderstanding is coming in today's publishing landscape.
What is the most common and damaging gap you see between publishing a book between those traditional and other platform of publishing book, Miss Michelle?
Well, the most damaging thing and disappointing thing to me in independent publishing has been how that do-it-yourself message has been promulgated all over the internet. It has led to so many bad self-published books that now self-publishing has something of a bad reputation. People have learned that, hey, I can buy a book and it may be terrible. It may be filled with typos. It may not be typeset well. It may just not be a good book. And that's so unfortunate because independent publishing, self publishing, is the greatest opportunity for authors forever. Almost, almost since Gutenberg invented the printing press. For the first time in human history, authors do not need anyone's permission to release a book. They don't have to put up with anyone who wants to reshape that book in a manner that they don't agree with. And so that comes with a responsibility, right? You're the publisher, you have the responsibility to put out a good book that's prepared to professional standards in every way. And that's been the most damaging thing to me because the promise of self-publishing has been somewhat damaged by the do-it-yourself message.
How do the right services directly impact an author's ability to have a long term sustainable career rather than being one in one creator?
Well, referrals, right? You when you buy anything online, you generally look at the reviews, right? And it doesn't take too many bad reviews for you to say, I'm not going to take a risk. The same is true of books. If you're asking people to turn over their hard-earned money and buy your book, if they do so and they're disappointed in in that book, uh, they're not gonna recommend you. They may tell everybody I know I bought this terrible book. So you're basically you're trying to save money, and I get that, but you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. You're ending opportunity instead of putting yourself in a position to take advantage of a great opportunity in publishing.
Ms. Michelle, if an author had to invest in one only three categories of professional help, what would they be?
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't quite hear that.
If an author had to invest in only three categories of professionals' help, what would they be?
Okay, the top three I would say is editing, copy editing, cover design, and interior design. Those are the musts, right? Because that's what makes your book look like it was traditionally published. Now, when buyers go to Amazon and they look for your book and they type in your title, Amazon is not only going to show your book, they're going to show the bestsellers that are similar. So in about 3 seconds, buyers make a subliminal decision. They look at those best selling books, they look at your book, and if your book cover looks like it was self published or done by yourself, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, I don't know, I never heard of that author. I'm not going to take a chance. But if your book is designed at the traditional publisher level, then they might say to themselves, gee, that sounds good. I'll give it a shot. So you don't want to put any impediment in the way of people buying your book. And bad design, bad typesetting, bad editing are three impediments that are absolutely going to lead to bad reviews. And that puts an end to your sales. So all the money you thought you saved by doing it yourself or by hiring someone who didn't know what they were doing, you've just lost all of it.
How about the marketing side, Miss Michelle? Is that important too, or
Well,
something that's set aside?
Oh no, marketing is crucial because people can't buy something they've never heard of, correct? But uh, there are ways to do marketing. You can hire a marketing firm. Uh, that's expensive, and then most independent authors can't afford it for much longer than maybe a 6-month marketing push. You can also learn to market it yourself, and we offer a resource that helps you do that. If you're willing to roll up your sleeves and put in a little work, you can schedule social media updates. You can sit at your computer for maybe part of an afternoon and schedule all your social media updates for the next month. So it's not really difficult to do it yourself. It does require some work. And you do need to put yourself out there, like on podcasts and so forth, to let people know about your book, because people like to work with people that they trust. And one way to get them to trust you is to let them see you and hear you and find out about your book on a more personal level than just an Amazon page.
Miss Michelle, why is understanding this difference one of the most important cost saving lessons or an author can learn?
Well, it's the law, the law of business balance that has been in effect forever, right? You get what you pay for. So if you go online and you find someone that's offering very cheap design services, chances are they're not putting in the same level of attention and detail as a more professional service like us, like we do. They may not know any better. They may have just decided that quote unquote formatting, for example, is enough. Well, book formatting is not book design and typesetting. They're two entirely different levels of service. Publishers hire book designers, and they do it for a reason, because again, they want to create that great user experience.
In a digital marketplace, why is professional cover design non-negotiable even for a debut author on a budget?
Excuse me. Cover design is crucial because it's the first impression for your book. Whether we all judge a book by its cover, despite the fact that we don't think we should. But when Amazon puts up those books in front of you, you have to be able to read the title. It should have a compelling image and it should look professionally crafted. And that tells the buyer in just a couple of seconds whether or not that book is worth a click. So a professional cover design is 100% necessary.
Miss Michelle, why does every author need a professional website and email list? What is the minimum viable version of this?
Well, a website for sure will help people discover your book. You have to drive people to your website. One way to do that would be to offer a free chapter of your book, perhaps, and then put in a button to let them buy the book from you. There's lots of ways to sell a book now besides the retailers. And we can talk to people about that if they'd like to give us a call. And we offer free consultations to everyone. You can sell your book direct to the public and not have to pay the retailer's wholesale discount. And so you'll put more money in your pocket that way.
Interesting, Miss Michelle. Everybody want the money in the pocket for sure.
Hmm.
What is the hidden cost of an author trying to do everything themselves? Is it burnout, purely received book, or missed opportunities?
Well, it's missed opportunities, like I said, but I give people credit for trying. I never want to discourage people from trying, but book design, book preparation is no different than any other business. You have to be trained and you have to be experienced in order to put out the best level of work, right? Nobody is born knowing how to design a book. It's not a do-it-yourself task. Uh, the trouble I see is that authors will do it themselves and they'll think that it's sufficient. They'll be very proud of what they did, which is not a bad thing, but to them it looks good because they don't know the rules of book design. They don't understand. They haven't been trained as far as what should be done and how it should be done. So it looks good to them, but unfortunately, it's not usually good.
Mm. So, Miss Michelle, for an author with a limited budget, what is the smartest sequence of investing in services?
Well, the first, like I've been saying really here, you just need to save up until you have enough money to do the job right, because you can find cheap services out there. You can find people who will work to whatever budget you set, but you're probably not going to get a good book from someone who isn't charging enough for the service. My advice is to spend a lot of time at major publisher book websites and start to internalize a feel for what those books look like, especially the covers, and then compare when you if you're considering a vendor for book design or any other service. Look at that provider's website and make sure that they are working at the same level as a traditional publisher. I see a lot of websites offering book cover design services. You'll see things like pre-made covers or template covers, and that's just not going to cut it. It may be appealing because it's cheap, but if you look closely at those designs, you'll see they're all the same. It's They may have swapped out a picture and changed the words of the title, but you'll see they tend to use the same fonts all the time and the same old-fashioned concepts over and over and over again. You need your book to look contemporary so that it's going to compete visually with the major publisher titles that Amazon's going to put up next to your book.
Miss Michelle, as a founder and CEO of 11 Autic Design, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short term, I just love when a new author signs up for us. It's always exciting. It never loses its appeal to be able to meet a new author and help them publish their book. A lot of people come to us. We just finished with one author who has been writing his book for 40 years, and it's 600 pages of poetry, if you can imagine how hard that was to do. So we just finished that book, and he's just over the moon happy with it, and he's soon going to be holding a printed book in his hands. Long term, I'm not getting any younger, so I'm always interested in talking to anybody who has better ideas about how this company could grow and evolve into something better than I've been able to produce so far.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Michelle. I'm looking forward for more success.
Thank you.
And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Go for it, right? I'm an ordinary person. I grew up lower middle class. My dad worked in manholes, and nobody in my family ever owned a business. So just don't be afraid to try. The best business advice I ever got was from someone who walked into my office about a week after we opened. And he said, and this was back in 1980. He was the owner of a roofing company, and he started giving me business advice. I guess I looked like I needed it. And the best advice he ever gave me, and the best advice I've ever seen since, was listen to your customers. They'll tell you everything you need to know. So if you're worried about opening a business, I mean, it's good to open a business in a field that you have some knowledge in, of course. But other than that, don't be scared, because your customers will tell you everything you need to know. And if you
Don't
listen
be
to,
scared.
don't be scared. It's fine. Just put one foot in front of the other and go for it, and it will work out if you listen to your customers.
Definitely don't be scared, people. And Miss Michelle, thank you for that advice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Sure. Well, I can tell you the book. I can show you the book that got me started in this business, and that was Dan Pointer's The Self-Publishing Manual. This author died sometime after 2007, but Dan Pointer was the man who basically He didn't invent self-publishing. Amazon invented self-publishing by making it possible for anyone to put a book up on the Amazon website. But Dan Poynter is the person who recognized just what a big thing that was going to become. And he made a career worldwide speaking to people and teaching people how to self-publish. And I happened to go to a meeting of the Arizona Book Publishing Association, and he was the speaker. Never heard of him. And about a week later, he mailed me some information and says, I want to list your services in my book, no charge. And I thought, okay, why not? And that's how I got started in dealing with book publishing. I had been trained as an advertising designer before that, and I worked a little bit in the ad agency environment. And he got me going on self publishing, and it's been great ever since.
Indeed, and thank you for that recommended book, Miss Michelle. And tell us, how does an author strategically build their author service team over time?
Well, the first thing is to educate yourself, right? And just keep in mind, like I said, that you get what you pay for from any expert, and you check the expert reviews. Uh, you can go on Google and Google the name of the company and with the word scam or with the word complaints, and you'll find out what the reputation of that company is. And so that's just, don't necessarily listen to people who don't know what they're talking about. Really go and find the experts that have been in business a long time, and they will serve you the best, I promise.
Yes, for sure. And Miss Michelle, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and mental health 101. Love letters in its third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Michelle, if an author perfectly assembles and utilize the essential services, what is the ultimate outcome? Is it more sales, more time to write, or a greater creative control?
Well, all of the above, actually. I know that if they hire a team, and by the way, we offer all of the services that are necessary under one roof, so you will save time if you work with a company like mine, because we manage all of the experts. You don't have to go managing five or six or seven freelancers on your own. So you will save time, you will get a better product, you will be able to continue writing because you're not bogged down in all the project management details of getting your book ready for the printing and distribution. So yeah, it's just hiring experts in any business. I don't care if it's a plumber or an electrician or a book designer. You need to work with people who know what they're doing. You'll get the best results.
Indeed, professional people, professional, just like Michelle DeFilippo. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to
Thank
the
you.
world, Miss Michelle. And can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Sure, they can learn all about us at 1106design.com. And if they go to that website, they can order my free book, Publish Like the Pros, which will give you a quick summary of all the things you need to know to self publish the right way.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Michelle DeFilippo because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering authors will come. So, Miss Michelle, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.